This was one of the least hyped pay-per-views in recent memory. I don't remember a time in the last 2 years where I was so unhyped for a show like Backlash. And the problem with it is there's some stuff to be hyped about. You know, John Cena and Randy Orton for the last time. If you were growing up like me during that era, you will know that these two were basically sworn rivals. It was one of the bigger rivalries of my childhood, even though it wasn't my favorite. So that was something to look out for. But even then, there just wasn't much hype with this show. And it felt like WWE isn't trying much after WrestleMania, which is something they usually do. With that said, let's get into it. Okay. LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre challenged Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. This is one of the first title defenses for Jacob Fatu. Drew is obviously set up for much bigger things, but it's nice to see a different name in between these three. Now, I had enough of the tag team matches involving LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu, but what about this match? It was good. That's just saying it lightly. The crowd was really into it, and it was an easy layup for the talent. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre were on fire early on. Then Priest comes in, and it's like they had some sort of momentum boost that began right when the last guys ended. Fatu's time, he looked like the weakest up to this point, but that would quickly change. Fatu overwhelmed Drew, and unlike the side that hadn't been seen in this match, this one was exciting, and these guys didn't need to do much here in terms of having a good match. The crowd basically made it the easiest match for them because they were cheering and going crazy for any move they would throw out there. Even if they hit a headlock over here, fans would have gone crazy. Fatu was a monster, selling a belly to belly from the top and having this great sequence leading to the crowd going insane. It was a very exciting match. Drew had the match won twice, with the second being frustrating since Priest pulled the ref out of the ring, and I gotta say it again, this was awesome and gave that vibe and excitement of an early Triple H era pay-per-view. It was insanity. Solo Sikoa showed up and saved Jacob Fatu, and then from out of nowhere, Jeff Cobb debuted with Solo and Fatu, although Fatu wasn't exactly happy. Is Backlash codename for Bloodline? There's always someone showing up for them. Wonderful match. These four put on an actual show, and I can't say enough good things about it. I just can't. Plenty of passion from these four men. All of them showed a lot of heart here. Drew McIntyre in particular took a bad landing with us out the heaven in the crowd. And much respect to these four, because they really put on a show for this opener. Becky Lynch is vying for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Lyra Valkyria is her last obstacle in the way. This story came from out of nowhere. Becky turned on Lyra after losing the tag team titles, and is once again a villain. I think this feud is important for the development of Lyra Valkyria, and I actually feel like this is a match she should win. Simple story here with Becky showing a different side of viciousness and most importantly, experience. She's been through this before, whereas this was the toughest match of Lyra's career up to this point. She was beaten repeatedly, but showed great resiliency. This one is basically a perfect example of who Becky and Lyra were at this point. Lyra was starting to become much more resilient, whereas Becky was becoming more desperate. Her desperation was starting to show no limit because she was throwing at her everything. She countered the disarmor, she escaped disarmor, she kicked out of the Uranagis, she kicked out of everything. So she resorted to cheating. Becky was wrestling with emotions at this point, and it led to Lyra winning the match. So when Lyra won, she lost it. I'm glad Lyra won here. I enjoyed the story of Lyra Valkyria responding to everything that Becky Lynch threw at her. She's a great talent. There's this natural underdog aspect that radiates from her, and it makes her performances even better because she has this storytelling ability that's impressive. That's one thing to mention here. I'm really glad that it wasn't Becky Lynch winning here because I thought that would have been stupid. The finish was kind of weird. It was very odd, but it serves the story with Becky barely losing the match. She lost it here. I actually thought she was going to beat up Lyra even more, but the officials separated them. Impressive performance from Lyra Valkyria. I really liked her here. Becky did well here, putting her over and making her seem like a much bigger talent to the audience. I think coming out of this feud is going to be a great thing for her. Dominic Mysterio defends the Intercontinental Championship against Penta El Zero Miedo. This is a match I had high hopes for. They had a good matchup on the Raw after WrestleMania. Dom's been becoming a bit of a hero to the crowd recently. Ever since he got that reaction at WrestleMania, it seemed like he's on the outs as a villain. Dom surprised everyone here with an impressive set of moves. He outmaneuvered Penta early on, and he was one step ahead of the challenger for the most part during this match. And he was doing it with swagger. He even hit an Oblivion here. Brutal Destroyer on the apron from Penta, and there's Carlito. Then the rest of the Judgment Day were here, and watching this sequence, these guys are so cooked. They're done. They couldn't do an interference anymore. But I guess that's what happens when you don't got Rhea and Damian Priest by your side. Oh well, I guess the Judgment Day has been patched. Then El Grande Americano comes in and headbutts Penta with a steel plate, leading to the win, and that was disappointing. I was enjoying this match, but then I realized they have Grande Americano feuding with Penta, and it just put a damper on things. The whole El Grande allegedly Chad Gable Americano thing, I feel like it's run its course a bit, and if it doesn't end with Penta unmasking him, then it's pointless. Like, I'm not gonna care unless they actually do that. With that said, I like this match a bit, but after seeing the interferences, they just wanted to put an additional match on the card, something that was decent. You know, because we saw this match on Raw. It wasn't as if they blew away the Raw match or anything like that. This was just an additional match on the card. Also, I'm hoping that Penta does eventually win the Intercontinental Championship. That's one thing I'm looking forward to this year. Pat McAfee and Gunther. A very random match that seems to be about Gunther regaining his edge. This is the most intense Michael Cole has been since 2012. And I kind of forgot that Pat is athletic. He's shown plenty of athleticism in the past, but this match feels weird. His lack of experience was the talk of the commentary. He didn't fully leap over the ropes and learned who Gunther was. This was a battle that embarrassed Pat McAfee with Michael Cole showing plenty of emotion. At times, it looked like this guy randomly teleported from the commentary table to the ring and didn't know what he was doing. He's just standing there like a deer in the headlights. The man was trying to momentum boost as if he's Hulk Hogan when there's no momentum since he's 67 overall. He was bussed around, thrown around, being around, and this was a systematic destruction of Pat McAfee that was quickly undone by Gunther's complacency. Best moment of the match up to this point with Pat doing everything he could before getting a kick out at 1. He did all of this just for a 1 count. I thought Cole was turning into his 2011 self with his confidence, but it was just him telling Pat to give up. Then at this moment, I thought Pat and Bear would drop him with this sweet chin music and pedigree combo. I really thought they were. Then when Cole pulled his foot under the rope, they actually got me here, and Cole sold the terror of Gunther all too well. I liked how they made Pat to be a very fiery person, but even he couldn't conquer the ring general because this is not his world. For as good as Pat McAfee was, he was never going to beat Gunther. Good match. They didn't go crazy with having Pat almost beat Gunther, and if anything, there wasn't really a moment where he had him down. This was enough to earn respect from the former champion for his efforts. Honestly, I couldn't really hate it. Pat McAfee showed a lot of passion here in that role. The crowd was rooting for him like crazy, even though they knew it wasn't going to happen. And I've seen some people be like, oh, Gunther could have ended him. Well, he didn't. He didn't want to because his ego preferred to keep the match going. And he wasn't even in danger of losing because this guy kicked out at 1 at one point. So that tells you all you need to know. The last real champion, John Cena, puts up the title he threatened to walk away with against Randy Orton in his hometown of St. Louis. These two, of course, had plenty of history in the past. We all remember their different iterations of their feud, whether it's Orton punting Cena's dead or the 60-minute Iron Man match. But this was the last time and for the first time in 2 different roles. It's a bizarre thing to see with Randy Orton as the face and John Cena as the heel. Now, John Cena's heel run hasn't been loved much recently because WWE is doing this thing where it's like, he threatens to ruin wrestling. Oh, you're supposed to be angry with a storyline they're purposefully making bad. And it all comes down to WWE just being scared of getting John Cena a new look, new attire and all that. Cena wants to ruin wrestling by threatening to leave with the WWE Championship. And in the process, he wants to bore people out, I guess is what they're trying to say. It's not exactly a good thing, but whatever. Okay, Cena was overwhelmed early on and walked out. This was so weird to see. This guy was so far away from being the actual fighting champion he used to be in the past. He did integrate into the match, and this was basically their greatest hits. The slow points, the comebacks, all of that. They know each other so well, but they kicked it up once Orton connected with an RKO off an AA attempt. The finishers really helped this match as Cena isn't as strong as he used to be in ring, but there's always a thrill with the finishers. Not too much because we kind of knew the result of this match, but just a little. Orton even attempted a punt at one point. Cena turned into a monkey at one point, jumping as if he's Randy Orton, and this is a point he had the match win, but the ref was down. Big RKO, but the ref took too long. It was drama-filled, overbooked, but it's way better than almost every one of their previous matches. This match randomly became no DQ at one point, which was funny, because the match involved plenty of ref bumps and like, you know what, we're gonna use weapons. Orton hit the most RKOs he's ever hit in a match probably, and these officials coming down like the match wasn't ongoing. Orton was the most sane person here. He's like, oh, there's a match happening. Yeah, that's definitely the most RKOs in a match. R-Truth came out, and this was enough for Cena to win because Orton wasted his time with him, leading to the low blow and the belt shot. And this was one of the most absurd main events I've ever watched. They think, oh, Cena might not deliver, so they go off the deep end with the finishers. 3 ref spots, a table, the belt, R-Truth coming out. This sounds like a fantasy booking of a 12-year-old, and I'm not gonna lie, this match was weird. But there was a lot to enjoy there because it got sillier by the minute. Way better than Cody and Cena at WrestleMania, and unfortunately, one of the most entertaining matches that these two ever put on with each other. It was so messy and all over the place. The finishers were thrown out like candy, too many referees knocked out, and it was crazy in a literal way. I'd prefer this than whatever serious match they probably considered when making this one. It's still outrageous though. I would have liked it a little more if R-Truth wasn't involved, like if they had Cena be smart and cheat to win here anyways. I would have liked the match more, but they had the R-Truth thing here. It's like, bro, come on. Regardless though, this is one of the better John Cena and Randy Orton matches, and it's just because they didn't take it seriously. They knew the limitations. They just decided to go crazy. It's a weird match. It's one of the weirdest main events you'll ever watch because you'll feel a sense of overbooking, but at the same time, a sense of amazement. It's odd. It's so weird. It is a bit divisive, you know, like I've seen some people that love this match like crazy, which I didn't because I thought there was too many situations in the match. But I didn't hate it, you know, I actually liked it a bit. Thought it was much more enjoyable than whatever they probably would have done. I thought it was more enjoyable than the Cody match, so that's saying something. I would have hoped that R-Truth didn't interfere here because this was promoted as the final match between these two. I think it should have ended strictly between Cena and Orton. That would have made sense to me. Plenty of praise to Randy Orton here for this performance. He's been in great form since his return about a year and a half ago, and it's continued here with this match. It's very enjoyable, and I don't know if this is a hot take. I actually would rather see Orton as a face at the moment than a heel. I just want to see his face run being maximized to its full potential because he's got a great connection with the crowd. He's in great form right now. I don't even think they should touch a single thing with him here. Cena at the press conference ended up AAing R-Truth in one of the weirdest segments. The reason why it's weird is because there was a lot of silence and R-Truth not thinking to himself, maybe this John Cena isn't a good person. It was funny. Cena called out the competition after the match. As for his next challenger, it could be CM Punk. I don't see it happening right now. I think that's the big SummerSlam match, which makes a lot of sense to me. But if CM Punk is the Money in the Bank challenger, then that means Cody Rhodes and John Cena have their sequel at SummerSlam by the looks of it. I don't know how it goes. I'm just guessing. Just a prediction there. All right, that's Backlash 2025. One of the weirder events. I don't really have much of a problem with this event. That was solid. It's just, it felt like WWE didn't need to do Backlash. You know what I mean? This event happened so close after WrestleMania. I don't think it needed to happen now. I think they could have pushed it until the end of the month, or they could have just waited until Money in the Bank. I would have been better off with it, honestly, but it happened. It wasn't a bad show, you know. I actually thought it was better than expected. Opener was great. The Becky and Lyra match had a great story too, with Lyra being like an amazing babyface good woman. Dominic and Penta was solid. I just thought to myself, if they were going to do that finish, why bother doing it after you did the Raw match? Pat McAfee and Gunther, I actually had fun with that match, to be honest. And of course, there was the main event. So yeah, I'd say it's a solid event. I liked it a little more than I did in the beginning of the show, so that's saying something. So yeah. Alright, what did you guys think of Backlash 2025? Please comment down below, and that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the frog splash and the like button, or perhaps the AA and the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.